Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Citizens Voice. I am Dr. Nik Nikam sitting in for Bangar Reddy, and this is July 27th, 2025. We are coming to you from Music Masala. The number to call here is 281 277 6874. We have three fascinating topics that we are going to be covering today, which is of great importance to our young generation to start with, and those people who are concerned about the economy in the country, and finally those who are trying to lose weight, which may apply to practically every adult around the world. So the first topic is going to be on AI. What is AI, and what is the thing that has drawn the attention of the entire world, and how important it is for the young generation. I'm talking about the high school students. I'm talking about the college students. Then we are talking about new graduates who are looking for jobs, or those people who are already employed in the current job who must also be concerned about it, because their future is going to depend upon how well they can utilize AI, artificial intelligence, in their everyday activities. And it is an integral part of our life, just like a browser. Every day we wake up in the morning, we open our email, which is in a browser. We open our social media apps, which are in a browser. Today it's going to be replaced, the browser is going to be replaced by AI. At least for me, I have been using AI for practically every kind of activity or search or analysis using AI search engine. There are multiple search engines like ChatGPT, which is the most well known. It's been used by maybe more than 300 million people. Then there is Perplexity. I got more attracted towards Perplexity because number one, it had a web connection. It's a free version which already had a web connection, and since I'm in the medical field, it sort of gave references to the latest medical articles. So it is not like it is some kind of a summation of a data which is totally unreliable, because that's the most important thing when it comes to the medical field, and that is reliability of the data. So we're going to be exploring a lot more into this AI and its applications, and what most importantly the young generation of Music Masala who are listening, whether you're a high school student or a college student or someone who is looking for a job or someone who has already got a job, what are the things you need to be concerned about when it comes to AI? What do you need to know, and what do you need to learn, and how you can apply that so that you are one step ahead of the rest of the crowd? Because those who know how to use and apply AI are at the top 1% of the workforce. And we're going to cover that one. The second topic is going to be on current affairs, State of the Union, what's happening in Washington, and how it affects your pocketbook and your savings and your children's future. I think we have this topic covered every week, and we're going to be talking about that. And finally, I want to talk about one of the obesity or weight loss wonder drugs that has gripped the American imagination, with more than 1% of the US population on this particular drug. You need to stay till the end of this presentation to know what this medication is, what it does, and how effective it is. What are the pros, what are the cons, and what happens when you stop this medication. So ladies and gentlemen, we're going to start off with introducing our radio station to begin with. Gentlemen, we are back. You are listening to Citizens Voice on Music Masala. I am Dr. Nik Nikam. If you would like to call in, the number here is 281-277-6874. And let's begin with the topic of AI and what you need to know and what it can do for you. Whether you are a high school student or a college graduate, or someone who is just graduated and looking for a job, or if you already have a job and if you want to secure your job, you still need to get involved with the AI, artificial intelligence. It so happened I woke up at 4 o'clock in the morning and I couldn't go back to sleep. So I started doing research on a simple topic in cardiology. I said, does taking statins after the age of 75 years, prolong life in patients. You know, many people are taking statins. A lot of these drugs have side effects like muscle cramps, muscle weakness, and all these things. And I posed the question, does taking statins help people who are beyond 75? And it came out with a lot of description and all these things. But then I started fine-tuning this. I said, I want you to write the pros and cons of taking statins in patients with heart disease and in patients without heart disease. And it came up with a beautiful article. Then I said, you know, I want to publish this article in a public open access journal, and give me how I can do it. And it gave me the whole entire scoop about all the open access public access journals where I will be able to produce it. Then I said, I want you to format this article for a particular journal like the American Journal of Cardiology, and it looked at all the guidelines for the authors. It created the entire catchy title. It created the executive summary. It posed the hypothesis or the question, and it talked about the pros and cons, making multiple reference to the articles, and it also created a list of references. This is typical of a medical review article. I was fascinated by this, and I said, you know, maybe I need to explore more into this and put another question. Does coronary stent prolong life in patients? And that also became my second article. Anyway, the point I'm trying to make is that AI is something which is only limited by our imagination and our creativity. If we know how to ask the right questions, if we know how to get the right output, if we can ask the right questions, we are going to accomplish a lot of these things. That's why I think AI is going to be the future of everybody's life. In my life, AI perplexity has been my front page for the last year or year and a half. Why is it so important for each one of us, whether you're 10 years old or 50 years old with a secure job? AI is important. Number one, there have been layoffs in every tech company. I can go through this one. Microsoft, 6,000 jobs. And Salesforce, 1,000 jobs. Meta, 5% of the jobs gone. And Dell, 12,000 jobs gone. All tech jobs. And same thing with Google. I mean, they say that by the end of 2025, 80,000 technical jobs will be eliminated, all of which will be done in a fraction of a time at a minuscule cost by the AI or the AI agents, or I would say their special envoys. So that's number one. And number two, if you look at, after the Second World War, we had the Industrial Revolution, building rail tracks and automobiles and all these things. Then we had the dot-com, where it just exploded like a nuclear explosion. I mean, positively, that doubled every 6 to 12 months. But they say AI is doubling at a rate of 3.3 months. At this rate, the magnitude of AI will be, so many thousands of times bigger in just a few years. Before, we were counting in terms of gigabytes, but NVIDIA graphic chips can process trillions of transactions a second, which enables AI to assimilate, digest, and analyze and spit out reports in a matter of minutes, what would naturally would have taken like days or months. So all tech companies are spending billions of dollars into the AI field. And $405 billion have been pledged by Google, Microsoft, Amazon, Meta, all these to enhance their ability to use AI to do jobs better, more efficiently, generate more pertinent contents, and generate more revenue. And that's where AI is going. And how does it apply to the young people who are like graduates or people who are looking for a job? And it is interesting to note that Jensen Huang, the CEO of NVIDIA, which is now more than a $4 trillion company, the largest company in the world, he says the current day high school students and college students should be focusing on physics, math, geometry, and chemistry. Why is he saying that? If you look at it, it is very apparent. It is already happening. If you walk, I mean, they don't give tours in Tesla automobile factory, but if you walk into an automobile factory, more than 90% of the work is done by robots. Back in 1980s, when I was in Detroit, I went to I think it was a Ford automobile plant, and we walked for like several hours going through the assembly line, where it took like 24 hours to build a car from start to finish, and it was all done by human hands. But today, all of this work is being done by robots. You want to know more about robots? Let me tell you. Amazon just rolled out 1 millionth robot for its warehouses. Do you know what that means? Amazon is the largest unemployer of human labor in the history of the world. 100 million people has been replaced by 100 million robots. And this is just the beginning of the application of AI in this universe. Not only here in the United States, China is making very, very significant progress, and so is Europe, and I'm sure it's picking up in India also, as I follow the news very closely. And all these things are very important for us to pay attention, because AI is going to be an integral part of our system, just like our blood flow and our mind and our heart. AI should be part of our life. If it is not, then we are not in line for the future generation jobs. The future generation jobs are going to be dependent upon how well we know AI, how well we can utilize AI, and how we can compete with other people in the same field, because the jobs that we are going to be seeing are going to be totally dependent upon AI in many different forms, which I'm going to cover in a couple of minutes. So keeping that in mind, now let's move on to this. I already mentioned about $400 billion or so, and I talked about Amazon rolling out the 1 millionth robot doing human work. You can imagine, how much money they are saving. Here's another interesting thing. No search engine so far in the world can do what AI can do. I was reading an ultrasound test, echocardiogram, which is like a static image or a small video clip of 5 to 10 seconds. So we came across a picture which was pretty abnormal. So what I did was I made a copy, a screenshot of that picture, and posted that to the AI search engine Perplexity, which is my choice. Then I posed these questions. I want you to interpret this image and give me all the findings you see on the image, both structural and the numerical data that you see. Explain to me all the different causes of elevated left ventricular outflow velocity. Velocity is basically the rate at which the blood flows across a tube. If the tube is narrowed, the velocity is going to be higher. If the tube is big, the velocity is going to be lower. But in this case, the velocity should have been lower, but it was twice the normal. I said, explain to me all the conditions where the velocity is going to be higher, and tell me what is the significance of this. Also, give me the differential diagnosis of conditions where we can see high velocities in this outflow track. And cite all the other tests I can do to confirm this change in velocity. Can you imagine? It gave out like 3 or 4 pages of information which was reference to the most recent articles as late as 2025. No textbook or no other source can you find this information that is so relevant to a given situation at hand. So it gave me all the numbers on the chart. It gave me the differential diagnosis. It also told me what other tests I could do to confirm this change in velocity and what are the conditions that it is associated with. And it also looked at so many other things. I was amazed. I said, if AI can do this, can you imagine how much more knowledgeable you are compared to a person who says, no, AI is not for me? Well, if you say AI is not for you, you are not as knowledgeable as the person who did all this research, and now he knows a lot more about a picture about. He had serious questions, and all of a sudden he becomes the expert in that particular aspect because you have such much more information about that particular image and that particular condition. And not only did we learn about that particular image, but we also learned about all other associated conditions that may produce the same kind of image and how to differentiate them based upon other parameters. So this is where AI comes into one aspect. I'm just explaining one aspect of what AI can do for us. In that way, what I would suggest is, it doesn't matter what your age is. I know AI is restricted in school websites. AI is restricted in a job where I work. But I think there is certainly a place for AI. In fact, I was contacting the Perplexity, the CEO, and explaining the situation and say, I want to team up with you and create a Med AI, which is sort of a paid version where the information is well protected. It is according to the HIPAA regulations where we can do medical research which is going to be highly, highly refined and can greatly enhance our knowledge of medicine. Since I'm a medical field, I'm explaining this. It happens in the same thing in every other field, whether it's nuclear physics or national security or any other field for that matter. But anyway, so when we talk about AI, the potential is just limited only by our imagination. And the more creative we are, the more questions we ask, the more answers we get, the more leads we get, and we become more and more knowledgeable, so that when you face a new issue, all you have to do is go to AI and pose that question and say, give me all the circumstances where we can see this one. What are the implications? What's the inference? How do we deal with this? What are the things we can do to avoid it? And this is amazing. I'm just giving you little steps. This is what is important in AI, asking proper questions so that we can do that. And as a matter of fact, this was about 6 months ago, along the same lines. I was looking for an answer for an image on the echocardiogram, and since it gave out the whole thing would look like a chapter, I said, maybe I should write a book on echocardiography reference book. And in 4 weeks, I created a 400 pages reference book called Echocardiography and Doppler Reference Book by Dr. Nik Nikam. It is on Amazon. You can check it out. This is just telling you when it comes to information, when it comes to organizing the information, when it comes to presenting the information in a structured manner, nothing beats AI's ability to do these things. But there's one more thing. The final AI is going to be human brain. We have to decide, is this information right? Is this information relevant? Is the source of this information reliable? Is this something that is applicable in my project or my work? So those are the things which only human beings can do, because the AI can only, search information, consolidate information, bring it all together, and then give you a summary or a description. And all those things are important, because every aspect of AI is important, and that's why I think it's important for us to jump into this AI bandwagon early in your age, as early as 10 or 12, and I'm going to get to as how the children can get involved. And let me take a minute break here, and I'll come back and tell you how high school students can get started with AI and what they need to know, because my grandson went through this one, so it's very fresh in my memory. Let me take a little breath, and we'll play a little music here. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Citizens Voice. I am Dr. Nik Nikam, sitting in for Bangor Reddy, and you're listening to Citizens Voice on Music Masala. The number to call here is 281-277-6874. We are talking on a very serious subject, which is application of AI and role of AI in everyone's life. As I said, even if you're 70 or 80 years old, you can still use AI to improvise some of the things. Like if you're having some issues, you can post that and find out how we can find a solution to that. So that's an important thing. I was talking about how young kids can get involved with AI at the early stages in their life, because this has to be engraved in their atoms, just like the McDonald's hamburgers and fried chicken and what else is it? Coke or Pepsi. The AI has to be engraved in every atom of their cells as they enter the college and enter the workforce. My grandson attended as a part of the summer STEM program, that is science, math, and I don't know what the other, science and technology math program. He entered a 1-week course on robotic AI. Remember I told you the future is going to be based on physics, chemistry, mathematics, geometry, and all this. Why? Because most of what is going to happen with the new generation of jobs that are going to be created by this $15 trillion worth of money coming into the United States will be going towards creating robots doing all this high-tech work. That's what we are not going to be seeing, the old style assembly lines where people will be standing and doing things. They will be sitting at the computer tape and running all these robots, building every aspect of the future society. So my son attended this class. I had to drop him at Rice University every morning and pick him up. And this came as no surprise to me, because we had already worked on creating, his name is Devon. I said we created a Devon AI program. It's actually like a Python program where it can take verbal questions, do the AI search, and return an answer to the question through the computer voice. So we pose a question. Hey, Devon, tell us what are the latest developments in Washington in the past week. And it came back and gave all the latest developments, which we're going to be talking in the second segment. But we had already written a program in Python and using Visual Basic as the editor. But the important thing to understand is that these children need to be exposed to the AI in one format or the other. And if they are high school juniors and seniors, they can attend these STEM programs which are given all across the country. Later on, I'm going to give you a list of some of the top programs, like MIT is at the top of the list for summer STEM program, where they learn about computer programming, not the usual C language or programming we used for doing all kinds of work. They're all going to be replaced by AI, because the AI can write all the code. But as a new beginner, we need to understand what these codes mean, and what if we have to tweak these codes. You need to understand the fundamentals of a handful of languages, then you will be well set for that. So we're going to cover some of those things. So he spent a whole week and he learned, how to make a robot do things. Like they use Arduino programming language. They could connect some wires and through the connection to the laptop, they could make the light come on, make the fan work, make the gate open. I mean, these are all things we see when we flip a switch and the light comes on in the night, or when you flip a button, the garage door goes up. Those are all functions done by these electronic devices. Now, these electronic devices are going to be done by high school students using a laptop, because that's how the connections are done. That's the prototype of a big robot putting a machine in a Tesla engine in a new car, and this is where you learn the fundamentals. As I said, they need to be engraved with all this fundamental physics and chemistry, geometry knowledge, so that they quickly can grasp what needs to be learned, where you focus your attention, and how do you improvise things on a continuous basis. So that was about the RISE program. And let me see if I can find. Here's another sad part. That is, they say 58 million women and 46 million men, their jobs are going to be replaced by AI. Because most of what we do on a daily basis is very routine, very mundane. That's what computers are very good at, doing repetitious work without any stoppage, without asking for extra benefits, without asking for vacation, without asking for a pay raise or anything. And that's where I think the AI is going to make a dramatic impact on human labor. And they, of course, since they are spending close to $500 billion on AI and AI research, it is going to create a whole new slew of jobs and opportunities, which we're going to come to and cover that. And let's see what is the role of AI. What is it good at doing? The role of AI is, it can automate routine tasks. I said, even as a cardiologist, every day I go to the office, I do the same thing. We do an EKG, we see the patient, we'll do an ultrasound test, we read the test, then we order some other test, we order the prescription, then we have to do the billing. That means a lot of things are repeated, because I have to enter the charges codes, and the nurse has to enter the charges codes, and they have to be sent to a different place. And so a lot of these things can be automated, so that when a patient comes, everything we do is remembered by this AI processor in the background, so that nothing is repeated. Everything, if I say, okay, you're going to need an echocardiogram, just taking the verbal command, it will generate an echo request, send it to the lab, or set up an appointment automatically, so that all these automations are going to reduce human intervention to a large degree. When it comes to like appointments, nowadays they don't have a secretary sitting and taking appointments. They give you the calendar and say, here's the time slot, pick your time slot and click, then we will connect with you on Zoom at that time. You see what I mean? Those are some of the things. Then evaluation of applications. they have like 200 positions in a university. They get 6,000 applications, like Baylor College of Medicine. Of course, they're going to use AI with keywords to streamline this process. Previously, it could have taken, days and using spreadsheet and programs and all these things, but AI can do that in a matter of minutes. Exactly, create a short list in a matter of minutes. As a result, so the AI industry is going to create a whole new set of jobs related to the AI in terms of AI programming, AI monitoring, AI management, AI ethics, AI automation, all these different things. And also, since a lot of these things done on AI or computer based, your workforce doesn't need to be in the building. It doesn't need to be in your city. They could be halfway across the globe, which also leads to the redistribution of the work. And that's an important thing for national leaders to take into consideration, because if you have a lot of jobs going overseas, that could be a negative aspect of the things if the companies are trying to cut corners and cut costs. And we need to embrace AI as our everyday tool, just like pencil, a ruler, or any other deal that we use on a daily basis, so that we become, it's almost like a second nature, that you're trying to enhance your knowledge, you're trying to enhance your ability to address an issue, you're trying to enhance your ability to perform better than your peers. There's no other friend or a buddy that can do that for you than an AI search engine. As I said, anything that looks so good may also have limitations and side effects, but we need to see what is the best part we can take and discard the other parts. When it comes to college graduates, let's talk about high school students and college graduates. What are the things they need to focus upon? Every time we talk about AI, I say, oh, I don't know how to program. I've never done any programming in my life. And I said, neither do I know about programming. I'm a cardiologist. But I'm kind of strange, because I started getting involved with computers back in 1980 when I was living in Detroit. On the street where I lived, there was a community college which was offering computer classes. So I joined there. At that time, we used that green CRT and that line printer. And I had learned some basic language and all this. But I took the initiative back in the 80s to write a language in C+ and create a medical billing program. I wish I had stayed with my computer programming in 1980. As doctors, we don't like to venture outside. But that program was used by more than 24 people for more than like 4 or 5 years. So the computer science has been evolving, and it is evolving so rapidly. AI is like the rocket that is taking off at light speed, and that's the best way to explain it. So what are the things, if you're a high school student or a college student and you're trying to select the subjects that you want to use, be familiar with. You don't really have to use them, because most of the things that we do routinely, we don't need to understand. It's just like studying physics and chemistry for a medical school. You study all these things to get a foundational knowledge of how things work. But when you become a doctor, you're dealing with a human being. And same thing, at the end of the day, whether we use AI or whether we use electronics or whether we use any other means, we are dealing with human beings, we are dealing with problems, and we are trying to find solutions. So I think it is important for us to learn languages. What are some of the most important languages that you may look into? That is machine learning and deep learning language, natural language processing, computer vision, and all of us need to understand data analysis and data science. What is data analysis and data science? Everything collects a lot of information. Like if you are in a store and you're selling 1,000 products, it creates data, a table. I need to understand from the table which product is moving fast and which product is not moving fast, staying on the shelves long. So you can decide to invest more time and money and resources on the products that are moving fast so that you can have a better turnaround, better revenue, so you're not tying up your money in products that are not moving fast. So that's a simple example. And AI tools for automation. AI is just like the foundation, and upon that, now we have the second layer, which is the agentic AI, which is like a wrapped program on top of the AI, which does a whole function for an entire project. Like it can take a database file and generate multiple charts, and if you tell it to do it a different way, it can create those things, and those are things we need to learn. So the languages that are recommended are Python, model design, and of course data cleaning and data verification. Data verification is very important, and then lifecycle management, crafting, like Python or Java, and these are some of the things you need to look into so that you will be getting the fundamental importance of all these things. And there are courses online which are given, which you can attend, and if you can attend in person during summer, if it's given in your church or a community center or something, I would invest that valuable time in learning these things. We need to learn the fundamentals of AI, advanced AI programming, which talked about. We also need to learn about ethics and law. You know, every project, every new technology has good and bad. So those are things we need to look into. So let's take a little break. Ladies and gentlemen, we are back. I am Dr. Nik Nikam. You are listening to Citizen's Voice on Music Masala. If you would like to join the conversation, the number to call here is 281-277-6874. Today we are talking about AI and your future. So we are talking about, some of the things that we need to learn, some fundamentals. It's just like learning maths, English, and arithmetic, and we need to learn some more languages that is important for the AI-oriented future. And as you get into colleges, you learn some of these programming languages. My high school junior grandson already knows how to write programs in Python. I mean, he doesn't have to write. You just tell the Perplexity, you pose a question, I wanted to create a program for this one, and it creates the Python program. We can copy that, put it into the Visual Studio and run that, and we can troubleshoot it. And if we have a problem, we get stuck, we take that error message and put it into the AI search engine and say, how do we solve this one? It will give the answer, and then we take this back and try to refine it until we get the desired endpoint. So, okay, what are the kinds of jobs that may be in the future for people who are going in the AI field with the foundation of knowledge which we have been talking about? The jobs are going to be in AI research area. They're going to be in machine learning engineer, data scientists. It's going to be for natural language processing and computer vision specialist. The job is going to be open for platform engineers, AI product managers, and AI ethics and consultants, and AI automation, AI anything in your job. Okay, we need to master the technical aspect of it. We need to master the human aspect of it, and we also need to understand the direction in which the whole industry is going. And I talked about robots. Robots are going to replace a lot of people because they can do the same job for a fraction of a cost at a much faster pace than human beings can do, and they can work 24 hours a day without making any fuss. Okay, I was talking about the STEM program for the high school students, because this is very important. And as I said, once you enter college, you look through all the programs under AI headline. I think the more programs you take, the better it is, because it is going to be the foundation for your future life, which is a much better foundation than doing other subjects. Even if you are going into like law degree or engineering degree, or you're going into medicine, all these things are important, because physics, chemistry, and programming all become useful as a doctor, because I'm going to talk at the end in the next couple of minutes about application of AI in the medical field. I have produced more than 24 videos on application of AI in the medical field. It's on my YouTube channel, NNN Media. You can watch those. But anyway, like, coming back to if you have a high school student, you want to enroll in a robot AI program or STEM AI program for summer, here are the programs. MIT Beaver Work Summer Institute has a 4-week program, and it is held on-site. I think there may be a online also. The registration begins sometime in March for the year 2026, and it costs like $2,400. That's like the smallest fee you can pay for a program from MIT in Boston. And they teach you about robotics, AI courses, including autonomous vehicles, race cars. And I said, I don't want to race cars and all these things, but it's just a foundation. As I said, we learn all this basic math, chemistry, and all these things. We don't use them today. But that foundation helped us to become what we are today: doctors, engineers, lawyers, and scientists. So that's the one. UT Austin also has a similar program, and it is for 2 to 3 weeks. Robotic AI, it costs about $1,000. Then we have the Geotech AI Robot Camp. Where is this one? UC Berkeley is another location. Stanford is another major recognized center for STEM program AI projects. Their fees is like $3,000. Again, practically every major university, technology universities, have these STEM programs for high school students during the summer, ranging from 1 week to 4 to 6 weeks, where you can go and stay there in the dorm and learn all these things, which will be worth significantly in terms of your ability to be ahead of the 99% of the people who have not taken this initial step. I would certainly recommend the parents, and if you're in college, I would say look at all programs available under AI. If there are some programs which you can take them outside of your course curriculum, I would take them, because they can come in handy. Even if you're a doctor, if you know how to use AI, if you know how to generate reports, you will be far ahead of your competition when you are applying for a research job, because you know how to do the research, how to get the desired results, how to expedite your research process, which I talked about when we started off in the morning, that at 4 o'clock I was there learning about how. In fact, I produced 3 research articles, review articles. The last one article I did just before coming here was on in patients with diabetes mellitus, with triple vessel coronary artery disease and reduced heart function, which is the best option as far as treatment is concerned: medical treatment, multiple stents, or coronary artery bypass surgery. Then I looked at the American Journal of Cardiology, all the guidelines. We put all the stipulations, add my name, add my title, add the title for the article, catchy title, create an executive, write the hypothesis, create an executive summary, start a discussion, talk about the pros and cons of all these 3 different options I mentioned, then add at least 30 references to substantiate these things. Make sure these references are marked in the article, and use the author's first name so that it is very authentic as we see it in the medical journal. On top of that, create a reference list. And I want you to, once I edit and accept it, then I need you to create an entire package, including the article and a cover letter for the JAC, so I can submit the entire thing. The whole thing was done in probably like an hour, because I had to write a lot of leading questions. But this is something I learned totally new. I learned as I was doing it. And if you're writing to a particular journal, the first thing you do is you go down to author's guidelines. You just download that page, copy all the points, put them in a Word document, and then when you have a topic you want to do, you paste all those requirements, and it will create the document. It created a 6,000 word, completely formatted, completely finished article with references, all these things. And it said it will email the final article and the cover letter to me to be submitted to the journal, and it may take like 4 to 5 hours. So when I go back home, those articles should be in my email. So this is a way to enhance our knowledge and all these things. So ladies and gentlemen, there's a lot of important things that the AI can do for us, which no other source of data or information that would have allowed us to do. To write an article for a fellow, it would take like 6 months and hundreds of hours of research, collecting that information, writing the text, editing it, and reformatting it, checking the grammar, spelling, punctuation, and scientific notations, all these things. Everything was done according to the JAC guidelines, including how the references should be cited, all these things. This is amazing. As I said, this is the power of AI, and anybody can harvest this, because I didn't write a line of code. I didn't write a single line of that article. All I asked was relevant questions, and I kept asking more and more questions and told it to rewrite the whole article. And it wouldn't say, oh, I can't do it. I've already done it 3 times. I'm fed up. No, okay, I'll do it again, Dr. Nik. And he just kept doing it. So I'm just giving you a practical example of how these things. In the medical field itself, I think we got only a couple of minutes. There are many areas where it is going to be extremely useful, especially when it comes to imaging. I already talked about producing a 400-page book on echocardiography and Doppler reference book using AI. Just AI, that's it, Perplexity. And it's going to be useful in medical imaging, like reading ultrasounds, radiology images, CT scans, MRIs, with much more accuracy, because it can not only look at the current study, it can look at the last 4 or 5 studies and analyze the data, compare them, and come up with a composite report in a matter of minutes, which might take several minutes for a doctor to look at 3 different studies, but the AI can do that in a matter of minutes. Then we have the predictive analytical AI. Then we have the personalized medicine treatment optimizers. It is great for new drug analysis. It is great for analyzing whether a given medication is appropriate for a cancer therapy based upon the genetic makeup of the patient. It's just mind-boggling as to what it can do. And also we have like new drug discovery. In fact, AI has been found to, it's already available, like IBM Watson. It generates discharge summaries for patients discharged from the hospital so that it can be used to collect Medicare payments. 33 million people are discharged from the hospitals every year in the United States. And there are times when these discharge summaries are not done for a month or 2 months. That means the hospitals can't collect money for 1 to 2 months. But now with the AI, it can generate a discharge summary even before the patient is discharged, and all the doctor has to do is discharge. Now we'll come to a point where it says, okay, you first sign your discharge summary and then only you can discharge the patient, which means it will speed up the process of billing and collection. That means it's revenue. Time is revenue. Time is life. Time is everything. And that's where AI comes into play. I just give you one example. Another example is, let's say a new patient walks into the emergency room. They get the name, the demographics, and the nurse checks the vital signs. All of that goes into the computer. Then the patient comes in, the nurse in the hospital checks the vital signs, take the history, symptoms, and get all the stuff. Then all that information is added on to the information already given. The doctor comes in, sees the patient, he writes the examination notes, the physical findings, the symptoms, and he orders some tests. That's added to the chart. Then all the test reports that are generated in the lab and in the x-rays all come into that AI pool, which started off with patient registration. After that, when the doctor comes in, that composite report will generate differential diagnosis, what are the other tests that can be done, and what are the medications that might be useful given the patient's age, patient's other medical conditions, based upon patient's kidney function, and all these things put together. I don't think you want to use this in actually making a medical decision, but in terms of using the logic of how AI thinks and can assimilate information, digest, and come up with recommendations is how we can train our brains to think, so that we are much more knowledgeable, much more having a broader perspective of how to analyze an information, which makes you an intelligent person far above most other people who are just still in the beginning or who have not ventured into the AI field. So those are some of the examples. I can go on, and you can use any AI for that matter. There's ChatGPT, just Gemini, which is initially it was kind of not that efficient, but Gemini 3 is becoming more and more popular. And I have checked like 3 different AIs: ChatGPT, Gemini, and Perplexity. And a year and a half ago when I started, Perplexity had already had free web access, so it could really research the web and get the latest information, where ChatGPT was still kind of stuck with non-web access. Now I think it has a web access. So this is a big summary. We spent almost 60 minutes on this topic, but it's well worth it, because this is going to be our future. That is, for the high school students, for the college students deciding on what topics to take, what direction to go, and people who are looking for a job, make sure that you have something on your resume that says that you can use AI to enhance your productivity, enhance the company's image, enhance the company's workflow, whatever they are looking for. And as a matter of fact, before you go for an interview, you can do the entire research of the company and the person who is interviewing you and know a lot of information about the company. So when you go and sit there for the interview, you can show that you are very knowledgeable about the job that you're trying to seek and what you're expected to do and how you can do that job much better because of your AI knowledge. I mean, this is just a tip of the iceberg, ladies and gentlemen. I hope this has stirred up your mind to pay attention to AI, because our future depends on it, and our future jobs depend on it, and our livelihood depends on it, and our children's livelihood depends on it. Thank you so much, and I'm going to take a little break. And when we come back, we're going to be talking about State of the Union, current affairs in Washington for the week.